My name's Kendal, and I'd like to take a minute to talk to you about my story, my experience when I got diagnosed with mild PTSD a couple of years ago. I was the first officer working on NRT on response, the first officer on scene of of everyone's nightmare incident really. A 7-year-old child had been shot in the back of her head by her father. In the weeks that followed, I didn't want to admit that I was suffering. I didn't want to be seen to be weak, or seen to be not macho enough or not man enough to do the police job. So I suffered in silence for a fair few weeks, and I found myself suffering with flashbacks, with some nightmares about it. I found myself being very irritable both at work and at home, and a sense of nervousness as I was working, going to the next job, thinking, is it going to be like that one? And I found myself getting quite short-tempered with members of the public. We had the following day after this, we had a diffuse session, which I didn't find that useful, but I had quite a few one-to-one sessions with a trained diffuser who told me his story, his own personal story, and a lot of what he was saying was resonating with me. I was experiencing what he had experienced, and that really helped me identify, I think, that I did have an issue which I needed to address. I felt like I was losing the plot, I think is the best way for me to explain it. I found myself picking my daughter up, my young daughter, and holding the back of her head to make sure that she didn't have the same sort of injuries that I had seen at the incident, and I felt like I needed some help. And speaking one-on-one with this trained diffuser really did help me. He made me realise I needed a bit of help, so I arranged to see my GP on his advice, where I got diagnosed with mild PTSD. I took some time away from work, which is something I very rarely do, but I felt like I needed to do it. And through occupational health, I got referred to some counselling, where I underwent some what they call cognitive behavioural therapy, that helped me realise that I was having a completely normal reaction to a completely abnormal event, and just being told that did really help me. I'm now back at work, as you can see, so this was 2 years ago. I'm now trained as a diffuser myself, and I share my experience and my story with colleagues, and try my best to help them if they experience something similar. And the sort of advice I'd want to give to colleagues who feel like they're suffering something similar is don't suffer in silence. It's not a sign of weakness. I believe it is a sign of more strength to be able to say, do you know what, hold my hands up, I need a bit of help now. I see that as a really positive thing. Speak to your colleagues, speak to your family. They are what got me through what I went through, and I think just realise that what you're going through is completely normal, and there are things that we can do to help. And just admit it. Don't suffer in silence, because that's when the issues can really start to happen.